on being warned, and it's actually, I think, pretty close to where under just was. It is on page, never mind, it's on page 121. I thought it was close.
Yeah, this is from the Melian dialogue.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost perfect what they say. If you abandon justice, then if your empire ever falls apart, the whole world will seek revenge on you, and you will be an example for everyone else. So, it's just like, pretty much perfect. They abandon the justice and they go and try to take slaves and steal resources and take over other city-states and make an empire. And in the end, they do end up getting beaten, and people in the Spartans seek revenge on them, and all of these city-states that were wronged by them seek revenge on them. So I think it was just foreshadowing. They were warned that if they don't stop and go back to their original morals, that they were going to be punished.
Go ahead, Doctor.
I kind of think they almost believe that in a way. They're kind of so arrogant, they don't think they'll lose.
I used like a really similar quote from around the same part, when they said that it's not in your best interest to leave justice out of the conversation. And they're kind of telling them right to their face that this isn't going to end well for you if you do what you're saying you're about to do.
Do you think that's true, that it's not in their best interest to abandon justice?
Yeah.
Why don't you think they hear this? Why can't they hear it?
I think Jocko's point was that they're so arrogant and believe they could never lose because they're absurdly strong navy that they just don't have to give any mind to other people telling them what to do. They think they can tell everyone else what to do. But in truth, like, they could eventually get defeated like they did to the Persians.
And I think also in a situation that like this that happens and then you get blinded by power, it totally ties into what you're saying. They just want to keep going and get more when they just need to take a step back and think about what they're really doing. How one wrong move, it could all be over.
So another way to kind of think about this is kind of like a two-faced almost. They say one thing, they show one thing, they mean another.
Does this play into like how truth is so important in a democracy? Like when things get so like two-faced and sort of masked, in like how does that contribute to the fall of a democracy?
I think like what we've talked about earlier, and Mr. Sargent brought it up, is when the waters are clouded, it's a lot easier for leaders that don't have the best intentions to come to power, and that can affect a democracy a lot.
Like fishers for eels.
Especially because it means that what Athens is trying to do may be going against what people want and what democracy is trying to be.
I have a question for the table. Do you think there's a right time to try and, I guess, deceive or lie to a democracy?
Is there a right time for the leaders to lie?
Yes.
Luke, what do you think about that?
I would definitely say yes and no. Like, if they're in a very big situation that they can't get out of, they'll probably lie and say something to cheer them up or make them feel good. And if they're just normally having a conversation with someone, then that's when not best time to lie to someone.
I think like an example of this was Themistocles lied to his people, but for the right reasons, because they needed to do certain things to win, and they did do those things, and he lied to make them do those things, and they ended up winning. But I think there's a point like Cleon and Alcibiades, they lie, but not so Athens can do well, so they can do well. I think there's a difference.
So you're saying when it's good for the people overall, it's okay to lie, but when it's for your own self-interest, it's not.
Yeah. Do you think Athens followed what Jocko just said, or no?
I think that when a leader lies, they shouldn't sometimes they might lie because they think it's what is best for Athens when really it isn't, and that's why I think a leader shouldn't lie in any situation, because their opinion might not always be the best. Like, they might think that, I don't know.
I have a question for the table.
Sure.
What would you guys say the difference is, or would you consider this a difference to, between telling the truth and not telling the whole truth? Because I know there's different points of view on that, depending on the situation.
So is there a difference between telling the truth and telling the whole truth?
I think there is like a big difference, because with telling the truth, everyone's gonna know the truth and all the facts, but not telling the whole truth, you can use it to deceive people and get your way. So I think like leaders doing that is almost worse than lying in a way, because they're deceiving their people. And does anyone else have any opinions about that?
I mean, do you think it would ever be ethical for a leader to not tell the whole truth?
In very few situations, I think it would be. Like I mentioned earlier, Themistocles did it to save Athens almost, so it can be, but in very few situations, I think it is.
Why do you ask that question, Andrew? I'm kind of curious.
Well, because I know that, a lot of times we as people will tell the truth, but not the whole truth, either to avoid any mishaps or misunderstandings, or to avoid chaos, as what leaders sometimes would do.
So you're suggesting like leaders might do this to keep order?